Okay, so we have the URL edkfong505.pythonanywhere.com. Let's go ahead and log me out, and then we're gonna create an account. Just go to register here. We'll just use John. And I'll use this address. And create the account. Welcome, John. Now that's created. Let's log in. And now we're in. Also going to create an email. John Smith. This is a test. Testing 1, 2, 3. Send message. So now I go back here. Now I have from John Smith. This is a test message. Now let's go ahead and create a quote. John, CEO. Smith name. Get some lorem ipsum. Make this urgent. I'll put in this file or cover letter. This is the menu site and request quote. So now if we go to this, we have the details page. Then for the directory for the uploads, okay, so this is the two files that I upload. Alright, so the other thing that I wanted to show was the updating of the timestamp. So if I'm right now it's showing this time. If I make an update and I refresh, it's showing at 4:37 today. Now it shows 4:49. The time's not correct, but that just shows how the update works. Okay, so all of the items from part 1 of this final project were items were completed. So from doing that, this is the new look of what I've created. I used a free template and then just carved out what I needed for the site. Has different JavaScript effects. One of the things that I added was pagination. So if there's more than one, more than four, it goes to the next page, and if there's nothing after the next page, it disables the button, and vice versa. There's nothing before this one. I've done this before, so it was a neat revisit, but I did learn a lot implementing the pagination, not an integer. So I created the paginator object, which uses quotes, and then the 4 is where you set how many quotes you want per page. The page number is pretty much the first page. So then it tries it if when they're searching for the page it's not an integer, it sends it to the first page. If the page is empty, if it's out of range, it'll show the last page. Alright, so another thing that I did was I moved the template files, the base files, like the base HTML, the navigation and all that, into outside of the applications. So I have like the base, the home base, navigation, pagination, which that's where you saw this right here. So this is what it adds to the pagination. The menu bar, this is the sidebar. Added a bunch of different things where it highlights or whatever page it's on. If it's on the about page, then that'll be bolded. The menu text. So I did that with the file structure. I've also for the URLs, for the project URLs, I pretty much just let the applications dictate what the path will be for the applications. So for instance, the quote, the URLs look like this. So there's quote, and then for the detail it'll be quote, and then whatever the ID is, and then quote contact, quote if they're editing, the edit, and then the ID number for the specific quote, and such. I also created a helper folder or file. In the quotes. So this is what I use to check if basically I wanted to have an option for user. I'm calling that user sample admin user, and put that person in the testing group. So if I wanted them to be able to edit and modify the quotes as if they were admin, but not have access to the admin the back end of the admin page. So that's what I did for that, and then I also created a template tag, which right here kind of does the same thing. So for the quotes list, I had it to where if the user is in the test group which calls that help profile or the template tag, then it'll allow the user to see that extra the edit feature, which is this right here, so they can actually edit, change text, whatever, add a price, so $2,000, reviewing, and then save the changes. So now this one has a price. They can also get to it from the detail page, and then there's an edit button right here, which is what this is. Actually, no, this is the list page, but on the detail page, I have an edit right here, which is this. When they go to the detail page, this is this right here. So if they're not a super user or not in that group, this hides it. And then again, the same thing. We can even change it to be a different user. So this part was challenging because I tried. It took me a few days to figure it out. I don't quite remember which is which, but the template tag affects the template page, and then the helper file affects the views, which is for the So this is where I control if they're in that test group or if they're a super user, then they're able to see all the objects or all the quotes that all users have. If not, then all they can see is their quotes. So basically, I log out, and then I log back in with someone that doesn't have, actually, John. He doesn't have any rights, but we know that we have more than one quote, but he can only see his quotes, and he can't edit his own either. So with mine, the difference is if I go here and I go to the admin page, then I can see everything on the back end. If it's the sample admin user, which is what I created, sample admin user, this person can see everything and edit. Make modifications. Save it. so you see that. However, if you go to the admin page, he doesn't have access to it. So, alright, so now what I want to do is go over the registration, actually, the password reset. So, if you forgot your password, then you can send yourself an email. So this is another template that I created, which is under the registration. Reset your password. Reset email. So I believe it's this one right here. You didn't receive. So now I'll go to my email address. And now I have this. So this is the reset template, which is email. Someone asked for your whatever, so it puts the email, the protocol, domain, which is this email. So if I click this, now it takes me to the reset your password form, which is this. Actually, yeah, it's this one right here. So this is the form right here. So I'll just keep it the same, but change my password. So now I go back to John and log in. Now I'm logged back in. And also I have it where it'll take the user's, I believe the first name. I have it also where it's yeah, right here. So this one, this is where it shows hi and then their name, and then I have it where it's camel case. So it's title is what if they have a lowercase username, then it makes it the first letter as a uppercase. So that's that. And then I also have for the template, so if say for instance for the resume, application, the about page. I have, like if nothing's put in, no information is put in the database, then it does, it checks, does a looping for the name, the title, but if it doesn't exist, then if there's a fallback to have all some sample data in there. The edit forms, so show codes. This I think I already covered. Template forms. So this is the edit form. It just loops through all the model, whatever's in the model. This is the forms file. So we have the registration, the login form, the quote edit form. So this is using the model form, and all the fields that it'll show is the same. So the name, position, company address, phone, email, web address, description. And for the models, I pretty much have this is the quote, and then these are all the models that I created. I also have sorting through when it was created, indexing with the created. The resume. So I created also the resume app and a projects app. So the resume, I think we kind of went over that. So I had it where the header, because it's not going to be multiple headers, I made that into one class where there's a name, the intro, title, phone, email, link, and address, which is this. When I go to the about page, so this is the name, the title, all of the data information, like email, phone number, a link to another project that I did that in WordPress for another class, and then the location, and then I've also used SVG icons, which is right here. Same thing, I did the alternative, so if nothing's entered, then there's a generic static alternative. But this loops provides this one's the email icon, and then it pulls the email from whatever's in the database, the mail to link, and then the actual email address, which is this. And then for the other items, I have skills on this side. Again, if there's no skills, then it adds a static skill, but then this loops through all the skills that I entered in in Django in the admin side. The work experience, the same thing. It lives through all the job title, the location, start and end date, and then the description or yeah. So this is the intro work experience. So it lives through experience, duties, start, and then I formatted it to where it just shows the month number and then the year. And then education, same thing. Static if there's nothing in the database. Certification, same thing. And that's pretty much it for the about page of the resume. Alright, so the next was the projects page. I just noticed on part one, we're supposed to do a contact forms. So this is the contact form. One of my emails. This is a test. Testing 1, 2, 3. I send. I submit. I got the message was sent. Email successfully sent. I go back to my email, and then now I have this email. This is a test from Edward. I have it set up through Gmail. Okay, and back to the resume. I mean the projects. This was a little more tricky because I didn't really have time to get a format for the projects page, but this is my projects page. Some other projects that I did. This is through a Bible search that completely uses JavaScript, making calls to I believe it was Ajax, and then through two different Bible verse APIs. And then obviously the final project. But on the projects for the template, I made it. Oh, actually, let me get. So I basically just did a left image and then a right image, and then for some I added additional text on the right side. So, for example, on this side I didn't add an image, but I added text. So I have the template to say if there's no image. If there's an image, then put the right image. It won't show the image, but then if not, then it'll show the text that I added, which is this right here. then it also gives you an option to place text at the end, which is bottom details. So this is where I'm able to put additional text after the two images. Just a little trickier, but I was able to figure it out. So, just to show you some of what how the projects part worked. For example, the final, I have it to where you get the title or the name, and then the first part of the description. Which is this. I also installed Summer Note, which allows you to have like a whisk Whiskey whatever text editor. So I'm able to add links, and then again the left image and the right image, field, additional right text, and then the bottom details. So for example, with the portfolio site, WordPress, I have the title and then a short brief description. I have the left image, but I didn't do anything for the right. And then I just have the text, which is this right here, and then nothing on the bottom. Other than that, issues with Summer Note. Actually, I installed Summer Note here. Actually, yeah. So instead of using the admin model, I used the Summer Note model. Kind of the same thing. You use the description. The list display where you can add fields for what you wanted to show, and then what the items that you want as the editor, text editor. These are the only 3 items that will have the text editor. So some of the other issues, I kind of briefly discussed it about the template page, and then the helper.py file, where I was trying to figure out how to have one user that had editing privileges but not access to the admin page, and so I figured, that was a challenge, but I was able to work through that. And then again, the projects page was a little difficult because I didn't really have anything to work with as far as, or I didn't. It was kind of a rush where I didn't really have the time to spend figuring out like a specific way that I wanted it to run. So regarding your experience, what did I learn the most from? I would have to say I learned from the lessons by doing the exercises. I'm a hands-on learner, so I would have to say this exercise actually had helped a lot because there's some direction or something that we had to work towards. But I learned a lot by actually doing it, a lot of concepts by actually doing it, like the pagination, which I've done before, but I actually was able to implement a project that actually had those elements in it. Um, the permissions in Django um, was pretty neat. Learned different tricks, implementing and making it work, but also I'm able to implement a lot of this stuff that I learned in my professional environment. Um, was there anything that I enjoyed? Yeah, I really enjoyed. Um, I love Django and Python, so it was nice to actually have to do this as because of the assignment and the project, but I enjoyed it. Spent a good time learning and digging into different things that I wanted um, to get with this project. Would anything have provided you with a better final project experience in this course? For the most part, it was. I mean, the course is really good. Just probably maybe more time on the final project and knowing what was expected. I think you might have the assignment as far as adding the projects and the resume portion um, was a little. I mean, if I knew that earlier, probably would have been better. Um, where in preparation and I actually finished the project way ahead, but it was like I had 2 weeks to get this done. But other than that, it was overall it was an enjoyable experience. The tutorials are really well um, organized, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Hope you like the site. And oh, one more thing on the page, I added this also. Says how to use the site, and then they can either register for the account, but then logging in with this as a SAFWA admin user um, gives them that full access, at least on the front end side. Other than that, thanks for the class. Enjoyed myself. Look for more classes like this, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love programming.